The kora is a 21-string lute-bridge-harp used extensively in West Africa. Description: a kora is a mandinka harp built from a large calabash cut in half and covered with cow skin to make a resonator with a long hardwood neck. The skin is supported by two handles that run under it, and it supports a notched double freestanding bridge. It doesn't fit into any one category of musical instruments, but rather several, and must be classified as a double bridge harp lute. The strings run in two divided ranks, making it a double harp. They do not end in a soundboard but are held in notches on a bridge, making it a bridge harp. They originate from a string arm or neck and cross a bridge directly supported by a resonating chamber, making it a lute too. The sound of a kora resembles that of a harp, though when played in the traditional style, it bears a closer resemblance to flamenco and delta blues guitar techniques. The player uses only the thumb and index finger of both hands to pluck the strings in polyrhythmic patterns. Ostinato riffs and improvised solo runs are played at the same time by skilled players. Kora players have traditionally come from griot families who are traditional historians, genealogists and storytellers who pass their skills on to their descendants. The instrument is played in Guinea, Guinea-Bissau, Mali, Senegal, Burkina Faso and the Gambia. A traditional kora player is called a jali, similar to a bard or oral historian. Most West African musicians prefer the term jali to griot, which is the French word. Traditional koras feature 21 strings, 11 played by the left hand and 10 by the right. Modern koras made in the Casamance region of southern Senegal sometimes feature additional bass strings, adding up to 4 strings to the traditional 21. Strings were traditionally made from thin strips of hide, for example antelope skin. Now most strings are made from harp strings or nylon fishing line, sometimes plaited together to create thicker strings. By moving leather tuning rings up and down the neck, a kora player can retune the instrument into one of 4 7-note scales. These scales are close in tuning to Western major, minor and Lydian modes. History: the earliest European reference to the kora in Western literature is in Travels in Interior Districts of Africa by the Scottish Mungo Park. The most likely scenario, based on Mandinkan oral tradition, suggests that the origins of the kora may ultimately be linked with Jali Medi Fowling Sissoko, sometime after the founding of Kaabu in the 16th century. The kora is mentioned in the Senegalese national anthem Pinces Chas Vos Koras, Frappes les balafons. Nowadays, increasingly, koras are made with guitar machine heads instead of the traditional leather rings. The advantage is that they are much easier to tune. The disadvantage is that this design limits the pitch of the instrument because string lengths are more fixed and lighter strings are needed to lift it much more than a tone. Learning to tune a traditional kora is arguably as difficult as learning to play it, and many people entranced by the sound while in Africa buy a kora and then find themselves unable to keep it in tune once they are home, relegating it to the status of ornament. Koras can be converted to replace the leather rings with machine heads. Wooden pegs and harp pegs are also used, but both can still cause tuning problems in damper climates unless made with great skill. In the late 20th century, a 25-string model of the kora was developed, though it has been adopted by only a few players, primarily in the region of Casamance, in southern Senegal. Some kora players such as Seka Keita have double-necked koras, allowing them to switch from one tuning to another within seconds, giving them increased flexibility. The French Benedictine monks of the Kër Moussa Abbey in Senegal conceived a method based on scores to teach the instrument. Brother Dominique Cata, choirmaster of the Kër Moussa Abbey, was the first Western composer who wrote for the kora. An electric instrument modeled on the kora called the Gravi Kura was invented in the late 20th century by instrument builder and musician Robert Gravi. It has 24 strings but is tuned and played differently than the kora. Another instrument, the Gravi Kura, a 21-string electroacoustic instrument, was later developed by Robert Gravi especially for kora players who wanted a modern instrument. Its playing and tuning are the same as the traditional kora. The Gravi Kura has been adopted by kora players such as Daniel Berkman, Jacques Bertin, and Fode Musa Suso, who featured it in recordings with jazz innovator Herbie Hancock, with his band Mandingo, and on Suso's New World Power album. Scores. The Kora music being part of the oral tradition, its music was not written until the 20th century. The ethnomusicologists were the only ones to note some traditional airs in the normal grand staff method using the G clef and the F clef. Nowadays, Kora scores are written on a single G clef, following the Kiamusa notation system. This notation system was created for the Kora in the late 1970s by Brother Dominique Kata, a monk of the Kiamusa monastery. The 7 low notes that should be written on the F clef are replaced by Arabic or Roman numerals and written on the G clef. While griots still compose in the traditional way, some Western musicians began to write partitures for the Kora and adopted the Kiamusa notation system at the beginning of the 1980s. More than 200 scores have already been written for Kora solo or Kora and Western instruments. Two notable Western composers for the Kora are Brother Dominique Kata and Jacques Bertin, who wrote most of these scores, though composers like Carol Elliott, Brother Gravi copyright Goya Philippe and Sister Claire Marie Led contributed with original works. Bibliography, Eric Chari, Man Music, Traditional and Modern Music of the Maninka and Mandinka of Western Africa, University of Chicago Press, 2000. Usmain Sohakard, La Kora, Objet à copyright Moyen de la Civilisation Manding, SI d'analyse organologique d'un harp luth africaine, Presses universitaires de Dakar, Dakar, 2000. Selected discography, African composers, Mali, Chords anciennes / Mali, Ancient Strings, Sidiki Diabata copyright and Jelamadi Sissoko, Buddha Music, 2000. First published in 1970, this CD was the first album totally devoted to the Kora. Sidiki Diabata copyright was the father of Tamani Diabata copyright, and Jelamadi Sissoko was the father of Balaka copyright Sissoko. They both recorded New Ancient Strings, Nouvelles Chords Anciennes in 1999, as a tribute to their fathers. Gambi, L'Art de la Kora, Jarliniere Masuzo, edited by Roderick Knight, Okora, 1996. First published in 1972, this CD is also a historical recording. Jali Kunda, Griots of West Africa and Beyond, Ellipsis Arts, 1996. A book and a CD edited by Fode Musa Suzo, produced by Bill Lauswell. Photographs by Daniel Lehner copyright. A Journey Through Traditional Kora Music and 3 Original Meetings, Kora and Piano. Kora and Synthesizers. Kora and Saxophone. The Manda copyright variations, Tamani Diabata copyright, World Circuit, 2008. 20 years after his first CD, Kyra, that was also the first CD ever recorded with solo Kora pieces without any song. Tamani Diabata alternates traditional pieces on a Kora with leather rings and his own creations with a special tuning on a Kora with wooden pegs. Western composers, Quandrena registered trademark T. Lamatin, Abbé de Kiamusa, Art et Musique, 2007. First published in 1991, this album gathers pieces composed and performed by Brother Dominique Kata and Carol Elliott, solo Kora pieces, songs with Kora accompaniment and a concerto for flute and 3 choras. There is also a piece composed by Brother Gravi copyright Goya for 3 choras differently tuned played by one musician. Le Jour des Merveilles, Jacques Bertin, 3 CD box set, Bayard Musique, 2009. Pieces for solo Kora, duets with cello, viola, guitar and koto, suites for flute, guitar and 3 choras. Notable Kora players. Tamani Diabata copyright, Seko Kawait, Kaolin Huzan Tunes, Sidiki Diabata copyright, Mamadou Sidiki Diabata copyright, Amado Bansang Jobati, Fode Musa Suzo, recorded with Herbie Hancock, Jarliniere Masuzo, Able Sissoko, Lamin Sissoko, Lamin Kuwaiti, Tasana Kamara, Lankandia Sissoko, Tsamena Diarra, Mamadou Diabata copyright, Jali Musa Diawara also known as Jali Musa Jawara, Tanjajid, Sona Jobati, Sanjali Jobati, Seko Kita, Adam Doughty, Josh Doughty, Biconti, Guillermo Kawait, Kadiali Kawita copyright, Candia Kawita copyright, Musa Kawait, Anali Kawait, Tumani Kawait, singer and musician for O in Las Vegas. Jalaba Kuwaiti, Ida Bistritton, Jack Burton, Curtis Lamkin, Brother Dominique Catter, Chris Marolf, Kane Mathis, Sean Gaskell, Alaji Mbai, William Parker, Justin Perkins, Gabriel Bass, Lamin Seho, Balaka Copyright Sissoko, Mansour Sek, Yusuf Hair Sidaib, Yurko Fernzalada, Mamado Sisso, Papa Sisso, Daniel Berkman, Jan Tambur, David Gilden, John Hughes, Jose Copyright Glissa. See also, Banjo, Griot, Gravi Kura, Mandinka People, Music of Africa, Polyrhythm. References. External links, Kora Connection, Kora Music, Kumbingo Koras, makers of fine koras combining traditional techniques and innovative design, the Kora Workshop, History of the Kiamusa Kora, A History of the Kora, with an overview of its current practices, by Jacques Bertin. The web page of Denis Havlina contains a number of construction articles for koras and accessories, Kora Manding harps,